I discovered my wife was cheating with my brother through a neighbor's Facebook post while deployed in Afghanistan, but when I came home early to confront them, I learned the affair was just the beginning of a conspiracy that started with my parents' death 8 years ago. She didn't just break my heart, she destroyed my entire family for money, and the person I thought betrayed me was actually the only one trying to save me from a trap I never saw coming. But what would you do if you discovered the person you trusted most had been planning your murder from the day you said, "I do"? Blood pounds in my ears as I stare at the glowing screen in my sweaty palm. Sarah Morrison just posted a picture that makes my stomach drop faster than incoming mortar fire. My wife Jessica stands in Romano's restaurant back in Cedar Ridge, her lips pressed against my brother Ryan's mouth. Her wedding ring catches the candlelight as her fingers run through his hair. The timestamp shows last Tuesday at 8:30 p.m. That was exactly when she called me, crying about how lonely she felt without me. 3,000 miles away from home, sitting on my cot in Forward Operating Base Delta, Afghanistan, everything I believed about my life crumbles like the mud walls after a rocket attack. The mess tent buzzes with soldiers eating dinner and playing cards, but their voices sound like they're coming from underwater. Sergeant Williams deals another hand of poker at the table behind me, laughing at something Private Johnson said about his girlfriend back in Ohio. These guys have no idea that my world just exploded worse than any IED. My hands shake as I screenshot the image before Sarah might delete it. Jessica looks beautiful in that red dress I bought her for her 2nd anniversary. She's wearing the pearl necklace my grandmother left me, the one she promised to keep safe until I returned. Ryan has his arm around her waist like he owns her. Like he belongs there instead of me. 6 months ago, Jessica cried at the airport when my unit deployed. She promised to wait for me, to stay faithful, to keep our home together until I returned. She said Ryan would help her with anything she needed around the house. She said I could trust him because he was family. She said a lot of things that were lies. The Facebook post has 12 likes already. Friends from high school commenting with heart emojis and congratulations. Mrs. Peterson from down the street wrote, "Beautiful couple." Someone named Mike Turner commented, "Finally. You two are perfect together." Finally? How long has this been going on? How long have I been the fool everyone was talking about behind my back? I scroll through more pictures on Sarah's page. There's Jessica and Ryan at the county fair 3 weeks ago. Another photo shows them at the grocery store, holding hands like a real couple. Ryan's wearing my favorite baseball cap, the one Jessica said she kept on her nightstand because it smelled like me. Apparently, she found a better use for it. My phone buzzes with a text from Jessica. "Miss you so much, baby. Counting days until you come home. Love you forever." The message came in just as I was looking at her kissing my brother. She has no idea I know. She thinks I'm still the trusting husband who believes every word she says. Something cold settles in my chest, replacing the burning anger. This isn't just about betrayal anymore. This is about choices. Jessica made her choice when she decided to cheat with Ryan. Ryan made his choice when he decided to steal my wife. Now I get to make mine. I open my laptop and start typing. First, I log into our joint bank account online. The balance shows $4,000 less than it should. Recent transactions reveal charges at expensive restaurants, a jewelry store, and something called Paradise Hotel that I've never heard of. Jessica's been spending our money on dates with my brother. She's been using the deployment pay meant to support her while I'm gone to fund her affair. My training kicks in. In the Army, we learn to gather intelligence before making any moves. You observe, you plan, you strike when the enemy least expects it. Jessica thinks she's safe because I'm thousands of miles away. She thinks she has months to figure out her next move before I come home. She's wrong about both things. I create new social media accounts under fake names and start following both Jessica and Ryan. Their posts tell a story that makes my blood boil. Dinner dates every Tuesday and Friday. Movie nights at our house on weekends. Ryan's been practically living in my home while I've been dodging bullets and missing my wife. The pictures get worse. Ryan sitting in my favorite chair, drinking from my coffee mug. Jessica's wearing lingerie I've never seen before in photos that were definitely taken in our bedroom. They're not just having an affair, they're playing house with my life while I risk mine for my country. Private Martinez walks over and sits on the edge of my cot. "You okay, Thompson? You look like you saw a ghost." I close the laptop and force a smile. "Just missing home, you know?" He nods and pats my shoulder. "Only 3 months left, man. Then you're back to your beautiful wife." Beautiful wife. If only he knew. After Martinez leaves, I pull out the notebook where I keep Jessica's letters. Page after page of promises and declarations of love. "You're my hero," she wrote last month. "I'm so proud to be your wife. Ryan stops by sometimes to check on me, but don't worry, you're the only man I'll ever love. Every word feels like a knife now. But as I sit here reading her lies, a plan starts forming in my mind. Jessica thinks she's clever, but she doesn't know who she's really dealing with. She married a soldier, someone trained to think under pressure and fight when cornered. She's about to learn what happens when you betray the wrong man. I reach for my phone to request emergency leave. Time to go home early and see what my loving wife and faithful brother have really been up to. Staff Sergeant Rodriguez squints at me across his desk like he's trying to read my mind. The morning sun beats through the window of his office, making sweat drip down my back despite the air conditioning running full blast. Outside, helicopters thunder overhead carrying supplies to outposts deeper in the mountains. Inside this cramped room that smells like coffee and diesel fuel, I'm about to tell the biggest lie of my military career. Emergency leave isn't something we grant lightly, Thompson, Rodriguez says, flipping through my service record. Your performance has been solid, but you've got 2 months left on this deployment. What's the situation back home? His voice carries the weight of a man who's seen too many soldiers make bad decisions based on problems they could have handled differently. I keep my face blank, the same expression I wear during patrol when we might be walking into an ambush. My grandfather had a heart attack, Sergeant. Doctors say he might not make it through the week. He raised me after my parents died. I need to say goodbye. The words come out steady and believable because I've practiced them a dozen times in my head. Rodriguez leans back in his chair, studying my face for cracks in the story. Behind him hangs a photo of his own family, wife, 3 kids, and a dog sitting in front of a house in Georgia. He's been deployed 4 times in 8 years. He knows what it's like to miss the important moments back home. I'm sorry to hear that, Thompson. Fill out the paperwork and I'll push it through. You can catch the transport to Kandahar tomorrow morning. The lies taste bitter in my mouth, but they're necessary. I can't tell Rodriguez that I'm going home to catch my wife cheating with my brother. I can't explain that I've spent the last week studying bank statements and credit card bills like enemy intelligence reports. Military regulations are clear about soldiers who let personal problems affect their judgment. Rodriguez would order me to stay put and deal with the situation through proper channels. By then, Jessica and Ryan would have months to cover their tracks. Back in my quarters, I spread the evidence across my footlocker like a battlefield map. Bank statements show regular withdrawals from our savings account, always on days when Jessica claimed she was staying home alone. Credit card records reveal charges at restaurants, hotels, and stores in towns 20 miles from Cedar Ridge. She's been taking weekend trips with Ryan while telling me she was visiting her sick aunt in Springfield. The phone records tell an even clearer story. Jessica calls Ryan every morning at 7:15, right after I usually sign off from our video chats. Their conversations last anywhere from 30 minutes to 2 hours. She texts him throughout the day, sending pictures and messages that she deletes before our evening calls. The phone company's website shows every call and text, but not the content. That's information I'll need to get some other way. I open my laptop and log into the joint email account Jessica doesn't know I can access. She's been forwarding bills and important mail to an address I don't recognize. Property tax notices for a house that isn't ours. Utility bills for an apartment in Cedar Ridge that we definitely don't own. Insurance documents listing Ryan as a secondary beneficiary on policies that used to list my parents. My hands clench into fists as I read an email from a real estate agent about finalizing the sale of the Thompson property. Jessica is selling our house. The home we bought together 3 years ago, the one she promised to take care of while I was deployed, is being sold without my knowledge or consent. The closing date is scheduled for next month, just weeks before I was supposed to return. Every new piece of evidence makes the picture clearer and uglier. This isn't just an affair driven by loneliness or attraction. Jessica and Ryan have been systematically dismantling my life while I've been serving my country. They've been stealing my money, selling my property, and planning a future that doesn't include me. The betrayal cuts deeper than any physical wound I could imagine. Private Martinez appears in my doorway holding 2 cups of coffee. Heard you got emergency leave approved. Sorry about your grandfather, man. He hands me a cup and sits on the empty cot across from mine. The coffee tastes like mud, but it's hot and gives me something to do with my hands besides ball them into fists. Thanks. Family stuff is always hard to handle from over here. The understatement of the century, but Martinez doesn't need to know the real story. He's a good kid from Texas whose biggest worry is whether his girlfriend will wait for him to finish his deployment. I hope he never has to learn what I'm learning about the people you trust most. After Martinez leaves, I call my lawyer's office in Cedar Ridge. David Brennan handled the paperwork when Jessica and I bought our house. He's an old friend of my father's, someone I've known since I was 12 years old. His secretary puts me through immediately when I explain I'm calling from Afghanistan. Jake, good to hear your voice, son. How are things over there? Brennan's familiar voice brings back memories of backyard barbecues and little league games from before my parents died. He's the closest thing to family I have left, besides Ryan. Besides the brother who's been stabbing me in the back for months. Dave, I need you to check some things for me. Quietly. I explain about the real estate emails and the property tax notices without mentioning Jessica or Ryan by name. Brennan listens without interrupting, asking only the specific legal questions that matter. By the end of our conversation, he promises to investigate and have answers by the time I land in Chicago. The transport plane that will carry me back to the United States sits on the runway like a giant metal bird. Tomorrow morning, I'll climb aboard and leave Afghanistan behind. But I'm not going home to the life I left behind 6 months ago. I'm going home to confront two people who think they've outsmarted a soldier, who believe they can steal everything I've worked for while I'm fighting for my country. Jessica has no idea I'm coming home early. She thinks she has 2 more months to perfect whatever plan she and Ryan have been hatching. She's about to discover that some enemies don't announce their arrival. Sometimes they just appear at your door when you least expect them, ready for the fight you started while they were away. Jessica's mascara streams down her cheeks in perfect black lines as she throws herself into my arms at Chicago O'Hare Airport. Her sobs echo through the busy terminal while travelers wheel their luggage around us, probably thinking we're having a beautiful reunion after my deployment. She has no idea I know about the lies, the money, or Ryan. Her performance deserves an award. Jake. Oh, thank God you're home early. She presses her face against my uniform, getting makeup stains on the fabric I've kept clean for thousands of miles. Something terrible has been happening. I didn't want to worry you while you were fighting overseas, but I need your help so badly. Her voice trembles like a frightened child's, but her grip on my arms feels more like a trap than an embrace. During the 40-minute drive back to Cedar Ridge, Jessica spins a story that would make a Hollywood screenwriter jealous. According to her version of events, Ryan has been stalking her since 2 weeks after I deployed. He supposedly started showing up uninvited, following her to work and sending threatening text messages when she refused his advances. She claims she was too scared and embarrassed to tell me because she didn't want me distracted during dangerous missions. Look at these messages he sent me, she says, pulling out her phone while I drive our Honda through familiar streets that somehow feel foreign now. Her screen shows dozens of texts from Ryan's number with increasingly angry language. You belong with me, not Jake. He doesn't deserve you. I'll make you understand we're meant to be together. The messages look real, but something about their timing bothers me. Every single threatening text was sent after 7 p.m., exactly when Jessica usually called me for our daily video chats. We pull into our driveway and the house looks exactly the same from the outside. White paint, blue shutters, the garden Jessica planted during our first spring as homeowners. But walking through the front door feels like entering enemy territory. Everything seems too clean, too organized, like someone scrubbed away evidence of something they didn't want me to see. I changed the locks last week, Jessica explains, handing me a new set of keys. Ryan had a spare key for emergencies, but he was using it to get inside when I wasn't home. I found him in our bedroom twice, going through my clothes and taking pictures. She shudders dramatically, wrapping her arms around herself like the memory terrifies her. I sit on our couch and listen to more details about Ryan's supposed harassment campaign. Jessica shows me security camera footage on her laptop that appears to show Ryan lurking around our house at night. The video quality is grainy, but the figure does look like my brother. She's prepared receipts for the new locks, printouts of police reports she claims to have filed, and even a business card from a counselor she says is helping her deal with the trauma. I was going to file for a restraining order next week, she continues, sitting beside me and taking my hand. But now that you're home, maybe he'll finally leave me alone. He always respected you more than anyone else in the family. Her fingers trace patterns on my palm while she talks, the same gesture she used to make when we were dating, and she wanted me to believe something that sounded too good to be true. My phone buzzes with a text message. Jessica glances at the screen and her face goes white. The message shows a picture of the two of us sitting on this exact couch, taken from somewhere inside our house. The text reads, "Welcome home, brother. We need to talk." How did he get inside? Jessica whispers, looking around the living room like Ryan might be hiding behind the furniture. I changed all the locks. I checked every window twice before you got home. Her fear seems genuine now, different from the rehearsed emotion she's been showing since the airport. Real panic replaces the calculated tears. Heavy footsteps on our front porch make both of us freeze. The doorknob turns slowly and Ryan walks into our house using a key that shouldn't exist anymore. He's taller than I remembered, broader in the shoulders, with a confidence that wasn't there when I left for deployment. Behind him walks a woman I don't recognize, wearing a police uniform and a badge that catches the afternoon sunlight streaming through her windows. "Hello, Jake," Ryan says calmly, like he hasn't just broken into my house. "This is Detective Amanda Foster with Cedar Ridge Police. We've been waiting for you to come home." The woman nods professionally and pulls out a notebook, studying Jessica with the intense focus of someone who's seen too many liars in her career. Jessica jumps to her feet, pointing an accusing finger at Ryan. "See? This is exactly what I was telling you about. He just walks in here like he owns the place. Detective Foster, I want him arrested for breaking and entering." Her voice rises to a near shout, but something in the detective's expression suggests she's not buying the performance. "Mrs. Thompson," Detective Foster says slowly, "your husband needs to hear some things about the restraining order you filed. And about the bank accounts. And about the apartment you've been renting with his brother for the past 4 months. She flips to a new page in her notebook while Jessica's mouth opens and closes like a fish out of water. Ryan sits down in my favorite chair without being invited, looking more relaxed than someone who just got accused of stalking should be. "Jake, there are some things about your wife you need to understand. Things I discovered while you were gone that made me start investigating instead of just confronting her directly." The room fills with tension thick enough to cut with a knife. Jessica's hands shake as she reaches for her purse, and I notice Detective Foster's hand move closer to her weapon. Whatever game has been playing out in my absence is about to change rules completely. "The restraining order Jessica filed was against you, Jake. Not against Ryan." Detective Foster's words hit me like sniper fire I never saw coming. The restraining order was filed against me, not Ryan. My own wife took legal action to keep me away from my own house while I was serving overseas. The paperwork in Foster's hands shows Jessica's signature requesting protection from her violent and unstable husband who made threats before deploying to Afghanistan. "That's impossible," I stammer, reaching for the documents. "I've been in Afghanistan for 6 months. How can someone file a restraining order against a person who's 3,000 miles away?" The legal papers look official, complete with a judge's signature and a court seal. "According to these documents, I threatened to kill Jessica and Ryan if I ever found them together." Jessica backs toward the kitchen, her eyes darting between the front door and the back exit like a cornered animal. "This is ridiculous. I never filed anything against Jake. Detective Foster, there's been some kind of mistake. Ryan must have forged my signature or something." Her voice climbs higher with each word, but the desperation sounds different now. Less like a victim and more like someone whose lies are falling apart. Ryan stands up from my chair and walks to the mantelpiece where our wedding photos used to sit. Empty spaces mark where frames once displayed happy memories of Jessica and me. "Jake, your wife has been planning this for 8 months. Since before you even deployed. She filed that restraining order 2 weeks ago, claiming you called her from Afghanistan and threatened to kill both of us when you got home." "Show him the recordings," Detective Foster says, pulling out a small digital device. "Your wife made several calls to our department, Jake. She reported that you were becoming increasingly unstable and violent during your video calls home. She claimed you accused her of cheating and made specific threats about what you'd do to her and Ryan when your deployment ended." The detective presses play and Jessica's voice fills our living room. "But this isn't the sweet, loving wife who called me every night. This is a calculating woman speaking to police in a shaky voice, claiming her deployed husband was showing signs of post-traumatic stress and making death threats. She describes phone calls that never happened, conversations where I supposedly became violent and jealous." "That's not my voice," Jessica shouts from the kitchen doorway. "Someone faked those recordings. Ryan, tell them. You know I would never say those things about Jake." But even as she protests, I can hear the truth in those recorded calls. The voice is definitely Jessica's, down to the way she pauses when she's thinking and the slight accent she gets when she's emotional. Detective Foster flips to another page in her notebook. "Mrs. Thompson, we also have records of you accessing your husband's bank accounts, transferring funds to accounts in your name and Ryan's name, and attempting to sell this house without his knowledge or consent. That's called fraud, and it's a felony." Ryan walks to the window and points toward a car parked across the street. "That's Detective Foster's partner, keeping watch in case you showed up here before we were ready. Jake, your wife and her boyfriend have been systematically stealing everything you own while you were deployed. But her boyfriend isn't me." My head spins as I try to process what Ryan just said. "What do you mean her boyfriend isn't you? I saw the Facebook pictures. I saw you kissing her at Romano's restaurant. I have bank records showing you both spending my money. The evidence I collected seemed so clear, so obvious. Now everything I thought I knew is shifting like sand." Look closer at those bank statements, Ryan says, handing me a folder I hadn't noticed him carrying. The account isn't in my name. It's in the name of Ryan Thompson, but not Ryan Thompson, who's your brother. It's Ryan Thompson who used to date Jessica in high school, the one who got out of prison for identity theft 6 months ago. Detective Foster nods grimly. Your wife's ex-boyfriend has been using your brother's identity to commit fraud. The real Ryan came to us when he discovered someone was using his name and credit to open accounts and rent apartments. We've been investigating for 2 months, waiting for enough evidence to make arrests. Jessica suddenly bolts toward the back door, but it swings open before she reaches it. A man I recognize from old high school photos steps into my kitchen. Tommy Castellano, Jessica's boyfriend from senior year. The one who got arrested for writing fake checks during graduation week. He's taller now, more muscular, with tattoos covering his arms and a smile that makes my skin crawl. Hey there, soldier boy, Tommy says, leaning against my kitchen counter like he owns the place. Surprised to see me? Your wife's been taking real good care of me while you were playing war in the desert. He wraps his arm around Jessica's waist and she doesn't pull away. Instead, she leans into him like they've been together for years. You see, Jake, Jessica says, her voice completely different now. Gone is the frightened victim act. This is the real Jessica, cold and calculating. I married you for your military benefits and your steady paycheck. But I never stopped loving Tommy. When he got out of prison, we decided it was time to collect on our investment. Detective Foster steps closer, her hand resting on her handcuffs. Jessica Thompson, you're under arrest for fraud, identity theft, and filing false police reports. Tommy Castellano, you're under arrest for identity theft, fraud, and violation of parole. She begins reading them their rights while Tommy's confident smile finally disappears. Ryan puts his hand on my shoulder as I watch my wife and her real boyfriend getting handcuffed in my kitchen. I'm sorry you had to find out this way, brother. But we needed enough evidence to put them both away for a long time. Detective Foster has been working with military investigators to build a case that will stick. As the police car drives away with Jessica and Tommy in the back seat, I realize the real betrayal wasn't an affair with my brother. It was something much worse. My wife never loved me at all. I was just a paycheck and a benefits package to her, someone to use while she waited for her real boyfriend to get out of prison. But looking at Ryan standing beside me, I understand that not everyone I trusted betrayed me. Sometimes the people you think are your enemies are actually the ones trying to save you from the real threat you never saw coming. Tommy breaks free from Detective Foster's handcuffs with a metallic click that shouldn't be possible. The restraints fall to my kitchen floor like they were made of plastic, and Foster makes no move to stop him. Instead, she pulls out her service weapon and points it straight at my chest. Ryan steps protectively in front of me, but the gun follows his movement with practiced precision. Sorry, boys, Foster says, her professional police demeanor melting away like ice in summer heat. Detective Foster died in a car accident 3 months ago. I'm Veronica Castellano, Tommy's sister. She reaches up and peels away what I now realize is a fake badge, revealing a tattoo underneath that matches one on Tommy's forearm. We've been planning this operation since before Jake even deployed. The pieces click together in my mind like ammunition loading into a rifle. The Facebook photos, the bank records, even Ryan's supposed involvement, everything was designed to bring me home early and emotionally destroyed. Jessica wasn't just cheating or stealing money. She was bait in a trap meant to destroy me completely while making it look like I was the unstable veteran who couldn't handle coming home to betrayal. The real beautiful part, Tommy continues, picking up a knife from my kitchen counter and testing its edge against his thumb, is that you came home early from your deployment because of family emergency leave. That's going to look real suspicious when the investigators find out your grandfather never had a heart attack. He grins as a thin line of blood appears on his finger. Military doesn't like soldiers who lie to get out of deployments. Jessica removes something from her purse that makes my blood turn cold. It's a life insurance policy with my name on it, but the beneficiary information has been changed from my parents to Jessica. The policy amount shows $500,000, enough money to disappear and start a new life anywhere in the world. The date on the signature page shows it was modified just 2 weeks ago. You see, Jake, Jessica explains while Tommy and Veronica position themselves between Ryan and me and the exits. Tommy's been out of prison for 8 months, not 6. We've had plenty of time to plan every detail of this. The fake Detective Foster identity, the bank fraud using Ryan's name, even the restraining order, all designed to make you look like an unstable veteran who came home and snapped. Ryan's voice stays calm despite the gun pointed at us. Jake, there's something else you need to know. I've been recording this entire conversation. He taps his chest and I notice a small device clipped inside his shirt collar. Real Detective Amanda Foster is parked 2 blocks away with backup units waiting for my signal. Veronica laughs and adjusts her grip on the weapon. Nice try, but we swept this house for recording devices yesterday. Your little brother isn't as smart as he thinks he is. She reaches into her pocket and pulls out Ryan's actual recording device, crushed into pieces. Always check your equipment before walking into enemy territory. Tommy moves closer, still holding the kitchen knife. Here's what's going to happen. You two are going to have a fight about Jessica. Jake is going to attack his brother with this knife because he can't handle the truth about his wife's affair. During the struggle, Ryan is going to kill Jake in self-defense. Very tragic. Very believable. Except Ryan was never having an affair with Jessica, I say, my military training taking over the fear. The real police already know about Tommy Castellano and the identity theft. They know about the fake bank accounts and the fraudulent restraining order. You think the real cops didn't notice that their Detective Foster never came back from vacation? Jessica's confident smile wavers for the first time since Tommy arrived. What are you talking about? We covered every detail. There's no way anyone could have figured out our plan. But doubt creeps into her voice as she looks between Tommy and Veronica for reassurance that doesn't come. Ryan slowly reaches into his pocket, moving carefully to avoid triggering Veronica's finger on the gun. Jake, remember when I said I came to the police when I discovered someone using my identity? I didn't go to the Cedar Ridge Police Department. I went to the FBI. He pulls out his phone and shows the screen to everyone in the room. Special Agent Williams has been listening to everything through this app for the past 30 minutes. The sound of car doors slamming outside makes Tommy spin toward the front window. Through the glass, I can see black SUVs surrounding my house and federal agents in bulletproof vests taking positions behind cars and trees. Red laser dots appear on the kitchen wall as sniper scopes find their targets through the windows. Tommy Castellano, Veronica Castellano, and Jessica Thompson, a voice booms through a megaphone from outside. This is the FBI. The house is surrounded. Release your weapons and come out with your hands visible. The mechanical voice echoes off the houses in my quiet neighborhood, probably scaring every family on the block. Veronica's hand shakes as she realizes the trap they walked into. This wasn't supposed to happen. We planned everything perfectly. How did they know? Her police training, real or fake, tells her that pointing a gun at federal agents through windows is a death sentence waiting to happen. Tommy drops the knife and raises his hands, the fight going out of him as he understands they've lost. Jess, baby, we need to surrender. There's no way out of this now. But Jessica isn't listening anymore. She's staring at the life insurance policy in her hands like it might transform into a winning lottery ticket if she concentrates hard enough. $500,000, she whispers. We were so close to having everything we wanted. Then she looks at me with eyes full of hatred instead of the fake love she's been showing for months. You ruined everything, Jake. All I wanted was enough money to be happy with the man I actually love. Ryan steps closer to me as the federal agents begin moving toward the house. Jake, there's one more thing you should know. The military investigators found something else while they were checking into Jessica's background. Something about your parents' car accident 8 years ago. Special Agent Williams sets down a thick manila folder on my kitchen table while Jessica, Tommy, and Veronica sit in handcuffs on my living room couch. The federal agents have secured the scene, but Williams wants to explain something before they transport the prisoners to downtown Chicago for processing. His weathered face and gray hair suggest he's seen every kind of criminal scheme imaginable during his career. Jake, your brother contacted us 6 weeks ago when he discovered the identity theft. Williams begins, opening the folder to reveal photographs and documents I've never seen before. But during our investigation, we uncovered something that goes back much further than this insurance fraud scheme. Something connected to your parents' death. The first photograph shows a younger Tommy Castellano standing next to a red pickup truck that looks exactly like the one that ran my parents off the road 8 years ago. According to the police report from that night, the driver was never found. My parents died instantly when their car hit a tree after being forced off Highway 49 during a thunderstorm. I was 19, Ryan was 16, and we thought it was just a terrible accident. Tommy was dating Jessica when your parents died, Williams continues, flipping to the next page. He was also working at Morrison's auto shop, the same place where your father had been bringing the family car for repairs. Tommy had access to information about your family's financial situation, including your father's life insurance policies and military pension benefits. Jessica stares at the floor, no longer bothering to maintain any pretense of innocence. It wasn't supposed to happen that way, she says quietly. Tommy was just supposed to scare them, make them think about changing their will to include me after we got married. But the storm made the roads so slippery, and when he bumped their car, they lost control. Ryan's face goes white as he processes what Jessica just confessed. You killed our parents for money? You've been planning to steal from our family for 8 years? His voice barely contains the rage building behind his words. And then you married Jake to finish what you started? Agent Williams nods grimly. The insurance money from your parents' death was substantial, but it went into a trust fund that Jake and Ryan couldn't access until they turned 25. Jessica realized that marrying Jake would give her legal access to half of that money, plus his military benefits and deployment pay. Tommy shifts uncomfortably in his handcuffs. Look, the thing with your parents was an accident. I never meant for them to die. But once it happened, we figured we might as well make something good come out of it. His casual attitude about my parents' murder makes my hands clench into fists before Agent Williams places a restraining hand on my shoulder. There's more, Williams says, pulling out bank statements and legal documents. Jessica has been systematically draining not just your current accounts, but also accessing the trust fund through forged paperwork. She's stolen over $300,000 from your parents' estate using fake legal documents that made her appear to be your legal guardian. The scope of Jessica's betrayal keeps expanding like ripples in a pond. She didn't just cheat on me or steal my deployment money. She orchestrated my parents' deaths, married me under false pretenses, and spent years stealing the inheritance they left behind. Every kiss, every I love you, every tear she shed when I deployed, all of it was part of a plan that started when I was still a teenager. How long have you known? I ask Williams, trying to keep my voice steady. How long have you known Jessica killed my parents? The federal agent exchanges glances with his partner before answering, and I can tell the news isn't going to be good. We've suspected for 3 weeks since Ryan brought us the bank records showing the systematic theft. But we needed concrete evidence before we could make arrests. The confession she just made is the first time anyone has admitted to causing your parents' accident. Williams closes the folder and looks directly at me. Jake, I'm sorry we couldn't tell you sooner. We needed her to incriminate herself. Jessica finally looks up from the floor, and for the first time since I've known her, I see the real person behind all the lies. You want to know the truth, Jake? I never loved you. I never loved anyone except Tommy. But you were so eager to believe that someone could fall for a simple soldier boy that you never questioned anything I told you. The marriage was fake from the beginning, she continues, her voice growing stronger as she stops pretending to be someone she's not. I researched you and Ryan for months before we accidentally met at that coffee shop near the base. I knew about your family history, your military career, your financial situation. You were the perfect target, lonely, trusting, and stupid enough to believe I could actually care about you. Ryan steps forward, his face red with anger. What about me? Did you know I was investigating you? Did you know I figured out you were stealing from the trust fund? Agent Williams holds up a hand to stop him from getting too close to Jessica, but she answers anyway. Of course I knew, you idiot. Why do you think we framed you for identity theft and harassment? Tommy was supposed to kill you both today and make it look like a domestic violence situation. Murder-suicide between brothers fighting over a cheating wife. Very believable, very tragic. Her matter-of-fact tone about planning our murders sends chills down my spine. Agent Williams signals his team and they begin preparing to transport the prisoners. Jessica Thompson, you're being charged with murder in the first degree for the deaths of James and Patricia Thompson, fraud, identity theft, and conspiracy to commit murder. Tommy and Veronica Castellano face similar charges. As they lead Jessica toward the door in handcuffs, she stops and looks back at me one last time. You know what the funny part is, Jake? If you hadn't been such a good husband, if you hadn't trusted me so completely, none of this would have worked. Your biggest strength was also your biggest weakness. After the federal agents drive away with their prisoners, Ryan and I sit in our parents' house, our house now, and try to process everything that just happened. The walls are filled with family photos that suddenly look different. Pictures of Jessica and me at our wedding, knowing now that she was thinking about Tommy the entire time. Photos of family gatherings where she was secretly planning how to steal from us. What happens now? Ryan asks, staring at the spot where Jessica stood just an hour ago. How do we move forward from something like this? His question hangs in the air like smoke from a fire that's finally been put out. I think about the answer for a long time before speaking. Trust isn't about never being hurt by people you care about. Trust is about choosing to believe in the good people even after the bad ones show you how cruel they can be. We rebuild, I finally say. We honor our parents' memory by being the kind of family they raised us to be. And we learn to trust the right people instead of letting the wrong ones make us afraid to trust anyone. 6 months later, Ryan helps me pack for my next deployment while we wait for Jessica's trial to begin. The house feels different now, cleaner somehow, like removing her lies also removed a poison that had been slowly killing everything good about our family home. We've recovered most of the stolen money, and the insurance company paid out our parents' policy in full once they learned about Jessica's confession. Trust isn't perfect. People will disappoint you, betray you, and sometimes even try to destroy you. But the alternative to trusting people is living alone in a world where love can't exist. My parents taught me that lesson, and even Jessica's betrayal couldn't take it away from me. Sometimes the people who hurt you the most are the ones who teach you the most about who deserves your trust and who doesn't.